In one of the most important environmental rulings in decades, with wide-ranging implications for government regulations writ large, the Supreme Court has decided that the EPA does not have broad authority to limit greenhouse gas emissions. Excuse me. Chief Justice Roberts joining the 6-3 opinion, arguing Congress needs to give the agency explicit authority. In a dissent, Justice Kagan saying, quote, "Whatever else this court may know about, it does not have a clue about how to address climate change. The stakes here are high." And joining me now is White House climate advisor Gina McCarthy, the former EPA administrator who signed the Clean Power Plan that was gutted by the Supreme Court in this specific decision. Gina McCarthy, it's great to see you again. This ruling reverses so much that you've worked hard to protect in this job, in your previous role. Talk to me about what you're going to do next.
Well, Andrea, first, thanks for having me. And we have to stop meeting like this after you tee it up like that. You know, the challenge that we have is that yesterday's meeting was really disappointing. And in many ways, it sent some devastating signals. But it didn't stop the EPA from regulating greenhouse gas emissions. It didn't change the science. What it did was tell us that the Supreme Court is more interested in special interests that are being funded by the fossil fuel industry than they are in protecting public health and giving the agency the right and opportunity and obligation to actually keep our air clean, keep our water clean, and address the existential challenge of our time. So, Andrea, we're meeting again, this time under bad circumstances. But I will tell you that the president remains committed to bold action. He's looking at EPA continuing its regulatory drive to actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions with the authorities we have left. And we're going to work across the whole of government to keep pushing for the clean energy transition that we actually know is happening and need to happen faster.
But doesn't this limit you? I mean, you can certainly not meet the 50% goal by 2030 with this kind of restriction. You would have to go power plant by power plant. You'd have to get approvals. Don't you need broader congressional authority? And how do you get that in this 50-50 Senate?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure we're yet ready to give up on the goals that the president has set, because we're making more progress on them than we ever expected. Just look in 2021, we had more solar, wind, and battery technology out there than we've ever had before. And one thing that we're seeing, Andrea, now more than ever, is that the private sector's taken the signal here. They are investing heavily in getting this job done, knowing that that's the future. So the Supreme Court may want to talk about the old days. We're really going to keep moving, and we think we can make this happen. But you're right, Congress needs to act. But they don't need to act to give us different authorities. They need to act with definition about the authority that Congress has to move forward and protect the American public and address this climate change threat that the world is facing. We need to lead in that effort. We fully intend to do that.
It's just hard to understand how you could do that. Just the numbers don't add up, given the size of the challenge.
Yeah, well, what the Supreme Court did was to limit EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gases in the way they did in that section of the statute. In terms of greenhouse gases, it did not take away the agency's authority to actually regulate all the other ways in which power plants spew emissions that are also going to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases being emitted. It had no impact on our ability to work with other agencies like the Department of the Interior to move forward quickly on offshore wind to make that happen. It did not take away the president's ability to use creative and novel ways like the Defense Production Act, which he used in our solar sector to jumpstart that when it was delayed. And we're going to keep moving those efforts forward. Look, this isn't just about EPA anymore. That's yesterday's ways of thinking about it. We can actually have good opportunities in every agency, and we're taking advantage of that with new moving forward with HUD and USDA. Everybody's engaged, and we're going to make this happen.
Are you concerned that the same attorneys general who took this case are now going to move, for instance, to limit your ability to control methane for the auto industry?
Well, we already have methane rules in place, and we're going further. We already have new clear auto standards. The difference today, Andrea, is that those auto manufacturers that were fighting us are now supporting us for those standards because they know the future is electric, and they see the bipartisan infrastructure law as a way of building up those charging stations, and they're driving more. Last week, 700 million more into that effort to continue to build the infrastructure we need for clean energy. So I'm not worried about their ability to regulate more under this particular statute in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. But you have to worry about the next shoe that drops. You know, we can't be beholden and limit our authority to regulate and do rulemaking effectively because of this statutory constraint that they're seeking to impose. We have to fight it every moment, and we have to find creative ways around it, and we will.
Now, you sound energized, but it's got to be discouraging, and I know there was talk of you leaving sometime soon. Have you finalized your plans on how long you can stay and fight this battle?
No, Andrea, I've been doing this for so many decades. You know, I'm not discouraged by where we are in the world today. So I'm going to keep at it until the president thinks my time is up or until I get everything I need done. But I got quite a few more months, if not years, in me.
In this job as the top climate advisor?
Yes, I'm going to continue to see where the future heads and do the best I can while I'm here. And hopefully we'll begin to let people know that this decision was bad, but we're going to keep moving forward, and we're going to achieve those goals that the president identified. We have to. There's no other choice.
Well, thanks for your fighting spirit. Thanks so much, Gina McCarthy. Great to see you again.